Hi, my name is Tim Mobley. I'm the 2018-19 Grants Chair for this district. The purpose of the video is to introduce you to the District 5110 Global Grants Pre-Application Form. The purpose of the pre-application is twofold. First, it is used to request DDF or district-designated funds, and second, it is used to inform you about what will be required when you go to the online Global Grant application on Rotary.org. This is another way that the Grants Committee is working to support our clubs in this process. The District 5110 Foundation Committee must work within the parameters set forth by the Rotary Foundation. That being said, we will do our best to help you create your international project and write your global grant with a minimal amount of frustration and angst. To be clear, writing a global grant takes time, energy, perseverance, and flexibility. It is important to have a project important enough to you or your club to be worth the time and energy it will take to complete the tasks at hand. The reason we have changed the Global Grant pre-application is to reduce work on your part. The pre-application is taken directly from the Rotary Foundation and will be directly applicable to the online Global Grant application form. We have included with the pre-application a cover page that will give you some direction on the process and a checklist of what parts you need to complete prior to presenting your grant application at a quarterly grants meeting. I will review the cover page and show you how to find further resources on the Rotary.org website. If you have any questions on the Global Grant pre-application, please contact me, DRFCC Chuck Root, Global Grants Chair Ralph Christensen, or ARRFC Leanne Mobley. Any Global Grant pre-application submissions for the July 14, 2018 Quarterly Grants meeting must be submitted to me, Tim Mobley, no later than June 29, 2018 to be considered at the July 14th meeting. You're looking at the pre-application cover page. As I mentioned earlier, submissions for the July 14th Quarterly Grants meeting must be in to me no later than June 29th. It's also important to remember that the minimal Global Grant project size is $30,000 and that the maximum DDF request that you can get from District 5110 this year is $20,000. All grant requests must be, the pre-applications must be in 2 weeks prior, 14 days, to the next quarterly grants meeting. If you need additional details on the procedures, please refer to the District Foundation Policy Manual. This pre-application does not require the depth or detail information that will be needed when you go to the Grant Center's online application. A representative from your club will need to come to the quarterly grants meeting with your pre-application to make a presentation about what the grant's about and get approval for the DDF from the quarterly grants committee. The grants committee consists of all Rotarians who are present at that committee meeting. This is the checklist of things you'll need to have in your pre-application: the purpose and goals, the proposed areas of focus, location of the grant, how the community assessment was done and how the project need was identified. What your relationship is to the host club and what their level of buy-in is important to know. How the project is sustainable, the proposed project budget and DDF request, and again, this budget doesn't need to be detailed, but just kind of in general, so that you can come up with a DDF amount that you're going to request. How you're going to measure success and the anticipated timelines of the project. How the project is going to be monitored and evaluated, and by whom. Will there be any cooperating organization or organizations involved in the project? Are there any potential areas of conflict? Has the host club and district been qualified? That's very important. If the grant that you're going to write, the project, includes a vocational training team or global scholar, you'll need to contact me to get a different application that covers those areas, a different pre-application, I should say. With the above areas completed, you will be well prepared to start. The district committee is here to support you in this process. Please don't hesitate to contact us. And if you submit it, the pre-application 3 to 4 weeks ahead of time instead of 2 weeks, we'll have time to help you make the necessary changes before you come to the meeting. It's also recommended that you read the terms and conditions for a global grant before you start. This is what the pre-application looks like. And as we said in the checklist, we're looking for some basic information, the name of the project, what type of project you're planning to do, who the host is going to be. You don't have to have the committee members right away. That's up to you. We do need a project overview, areas of focus, as I mentioned, the measures of success, and there's a place in here to put all that information. Who's going to collect and monitor and evaluate, the timeline, when and where, who the participants are going to be, and if you're going to have any cooperating organizations. Do you have a partner? Are you going to have any volunteer travelers? That's not necessary unless it's included in the budget. How are the Rotarians going to participate, both hosts and international Rotarians? This is where we get into actually using the budget. This is where you would list it in general. And then this is the funding, and what funding do you currently have secured? And this is how you'll figure out your DDF and World Fund match. This is where the World Fund match goes. This is the sustainability. How are you going to do that? You don't have to be specific on this, but in general, how is it going to be sustainable? And this is where the community needs comes in also. So this is project implementation. Just in general, again, we don't need the detail that you're going to need for the online application. Let's see. An important thing that people are going to be asking and you'll be needing for your online application will be where you're going to procure your supplies for your project, and it's highly recommended that you get as much as you can locally. This is again about sustainability. How are you going to sustain it with the funding, if funding is required to sustain your project? As I said earlier, I'm going to show you a way to find more resources for your global grant, your international project. The first thing you need to do is go to Rotary.org. Once you're at Rotary.org, click on My Rotary. Sign into My Rotary, and my computer autofills my name and or email and password. It may take a few moments, as depends on the amount of traffic on the Rotary International website. So you can see that we are now in My Rotary. And if you take your cursor and put it on the Rotary Foundation, you will see a pop-up menu. And if you go all the way to the left, under Grants, you'll see Grant Center. Click on Grant Center. This is where you will find all kinds of resources. Down the right-hand side, you can see areas of focus, policies, conflict of interest, cooperating organizations. Here is the Global Grant Application Template. This is where we drew our pre-application from. The Global Grant Calculator. This will help you calculate your DDF and work on the budget. So there's a report template, there's a monitoring and evaluation supplement, there's all kinds of good information Guide to Global Grants is really a good resource for you to go through. And then, as I suggested, the terms and conditions for Rotary Foundation, District, and Global Grants. It's important that you do as much work as you can up front. That will really help in the long run. If you spend more time up front learning about the process, learning about sustainability, learning about community assessments, it's going to make a huge difference in the amount of energy it takes and frustration you have in this whole process. When you're ready to write your grant, you can go to this page and click on Apply for Grant. Once you're in the grant application site, select the type of grant, which will be Global Grant. And once again, all these resources are down the right-hand side. Click on Let's Begin. And here you can see that our pre-application matches pretty darn close to what is going to be asked of you in this actual Global Grant application form. Again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me, Chuck Root, Ralph Christensen, or Leanne Mobley. Thank you for your time.